So Louie Gohmert's part in this whole plot to overthrow democracy is that he wants to sue Pence because Pence is indicating he's not gonna overthrow it. It's weird, but he does have a new thing, and that is threatening violence if he doesn't get his way. So here is Louie Gohmert on Newsmax.
If I don't have standing to do that, nobody does. And if the appropriate defendant is not the vice president that under the Constitution has the power to make that determination, then there is no. But if bottom line is the court is saying, we're not going to touch this, you have no remedy. Basically, in effect, the ruling would be that you got to go to the streets and be as violent as Antifa and BLM.
Well, let me ask you, Congressman Gohmert. I mean, technically, the ball is still in the vice president's court.
Yeah, so we're cutting it off there. But the important part was that she moved on to other things after he said, you need to get out in the streets and be as violent as Antifa. And I think he said BLMA, MN. I don't know what he said, but he means Black Lives Matter. She has a congressman saying people should get in the streets and riot. And she's like, oh, but I love this next question. So let's just move on to that.
I love the right somehow thinks that BLM is a rioting, that they do riots when Proud Boys are there and are the ones instigating a lot of violence because they're fully armed. To imagine to enjoy your own farts that much, and be like, well, we need a violent group like BLM. Yeah, you got them. They've been outside of state capitol buildings throughout the country, protesting safety measures in a global pandemic. They're there. They've been bullying. They've been running cars into. They've been aggressing upon peaceful demonstrators all last year. You got them right there. So it's not, I mean, that's essentially what he's saying. He would never say Proud Boys because he might accidentally tell them to stand back and stand by. But that's exactly who he's dog whistling and asking to come out to the streets.
Yeah, and they don't even like the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys and they're not pretending that they have some legitimate grievance that they're protesting. And what do you know? It turned into violence. They're just organizing to fight people. And I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on Parler or any of these things, but I follow a number of people who follow extremist groups and extremist chat groups, and I am hoping that this January 6th ends up being totally peaceful. Yeah, I've had previous, I love to admit when I'm wrong. So I was very worried about violence on election day, that something would be done at a polling place or something like that. And it didn't, thankfully. There was intimidation and stuff like that, but there wasn't violence. I was wrong about that and I'm glad. But there are people threatening on the 6th that we've got people, Proud Boys, we're sending in people. We've got hundreds of people with weapons and everything. They're implying that they want to try to take this thing over by force. It's almost certainly not gonna happen, because that is the quickest way to commit suicide. But there are people saying that. So that's what we have. We have an elected official going on the new Fox News and saying people should riot and they just move on. It's not a big deal, don't worry about it. And then you have at least hundreds of people who are at least dreaming of unleashing their assault weapons on people, whether they'll actually do it or not.
Yeah, and we know, I mean, through white supremacist violence around the country, that actually police are pretty bad when it comes to treating them the same way they do treat BLM organizers, right? And protesters who are largely unarmed. So we're gonna see, and I think we're gonna see this, and this is what I've said before, in this next period, man, we can't have nice things, but we can sure try and put away some of this disgustingness of our country, this white supremacy, these militant groups. We have a responsibility, law enforcement has a responsibility to actually, try and stamp them out, because they've, whatever, they are a terrorist threat. And I would like to see them treat them with that same seriousness that they would even dare treat peaceful BLM demonstrators.
Yeah, but yeah, based like you were saying, they're not going to. And it's the most bizarre thing. There's no group they're more mad still about a 30-year-old rap song about shooting the police than they are about militia members continually talking about shooting and killing police and federal agents and stuff like that. The far right loves to talk about assassinating law enforcement.
Yes.
And
Boogaloo Boys have targeted law enforcement and have killed them and tried to blame it on BLM demonstrators. I mean, if just one of them were black, right? Like, what a different conversation. It's, up is down in this new reality. And I have to push back, John. I have to say, like, I hear your cynicism, but we have to make sure that crimes are actually investigated, that people do see justice, right? Like, I can't just completely give up on that, even though I know our country, terrible track record when it comes to that.
I agree. Yeah, I'm starting the year off a little bit cynical. I'm switching it up from 2020. Starting off optimistic, turns out that wasn't a good call. So I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna pull a little switchy and we'll see what happens.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.